All right, what's going on, guys? All right, this is a continuation of us working on our 062 Vortec heads. So we did check these out. They do not have cracks. If you remember, we used the penetrant developer to look for cracks just to make sure everything was good before we went further. So these heads that I have are good. If you remember, I had gotten a set of heads earlier. Those are bad, so we checked those out. Those have cracks, but that one's good and this one's good. So tonight we're working on lapping the valves, and of note, I went ahead and lapped the cylinders 1, 3, and 5. This is going to be the driver's side bank. We're going to use this for the driver's side, but I want to show you guys how we lapped the valves on this one. So this will be the number 7 valve. So I checked our valves out. I have them separated already. Already have those valves separated by a bank, so that's done. This is going to be the intake and exhaust valve for cylinder 7. So we checked out the valves. This is going to be, I think this is going to be pretty good. There's some light pitting in here, but you know, these other 3 cylinders we did were similar, and the faces on the valves turned out pretty good. So we're not taking them to the machine shop to get them turned. We're just going to do them here at home. So what I'm using is a good old-fashioned $5 valve lapping tool from Evercraft. I think I paid like $6 or $7 for it. You probably can find it online. That's your part number. I think that's the part number. Either that's the part number or it's phone number. But this is the one I'm using, so less than $10. And we're using the Permatex water mix. So we're using the Permatex water mix valve grinding compound. So we're using that, but I'm also using a little bit of oil just to put on the edge of the valves, so that as you hear that gritty sound, this is kind of a coarse grit. That oil makes a little fine grit to make the faces a little more uniform. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our intake valve, we're going to put some compound on our intake valve. Now again, I've already checked the valve guides. The valve guides are good. We're gonna go ahead and drop this in. I'm gonna put some oil on the stem. I'm gonna oil the valve stem. Making sure we don't put any compound in the valve stem area or in the valve guide. We're gonna take our plunger. This is the big one, so we're gonna take our fat side. And just like you've seen in other videos, we're just going to press that down. Just like anything else, it won't stay on there that long. I'm gonna go through the procedure. We're gonna grind, lift, spin, and grind. What I do is I take it out and I'll check the face of the valve in the seat. Take a look at our intake valve, and you don't see any pits in here, and that valve face looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. So we're going to take a look at our seat. You can see it. Wipe that seat out. Again, making sure I don't get any of that compound in the guide. I'll take this down, let you guys take a look at it. Got a couple little pits in there. And you can see it. There's one right there. For the most part, there's one right there. For the most part, it looks pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lap this one a little bit more, but this time I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on the face. And what I've noticed is it'll get into the that space a little bit better. So again, I'm just gonna put a little bit more on there. You have to use a whole lot. You know, what I'm gonna do is just put a little bit of oil here. And I want you to hear the sound that it makes as you go from coarse to fine. You'll hear it. Listen to it. It's aggravating. Like that. All right, let's check out our face. You can kind of see just by looking at where the contact is, just by looking at where the contact, the grinding compound makes, I think we're getting a pretty good seat here. Don't see any pitting, any major pitting anyway. You kind of see that kind of shady, shiny, gray, dull area. See any major pitting, so I think that's a good, it's gonna make a good seat. And so we're gonna clean this one out. Take a look at that one and see if we got those pits out of there. And if we didn't, hey, this is a budget bill. So I'm not trying to break the land speed record. Take a look at that one. Still got that pit right there, but I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing. I think we got a pretty good, I think we're gonna get a pretty good seal. So that's it for the intake valve. So the next one we're gonna do is gonna be the exhaust valve. All right, now it's time to do the exhaust valve on cylinder number 7. So I'm gonna take a look at the face on this one. It's got a little pitting going on there, but I think we can clean this up if we just take our time and lap this one really good. And again, if you take a look at the seat here, the seat's got some pitting as well, but I think if we use our compound properly, we'll get this cleaned up. So we're gonna go ahead and put some compound on our valve. I'm gonna put some oil on our stem and just make sure we don't put any lapping compound in the valve guide and on the stem. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and clean off our suction area. And we're gonna lap our valve. All right, we're gonna take this out, check our valve seat, see what type of, oh, that was pitted pretty good. You can kind of see it. Probably need to grind these, but we're not doing that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep going at it. And they talk about doing, do a 3-angle valve job. I ain't doing that. I get it. You want to get as much as you can out of it, and that's fine. But this is going to be my weekend cruiser, and it's going to work fine. All right, here we go. We're going to lap until those pits are gone. Some of that pitting's almost gone. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it used to be pretty pitted. But when I put that oil on it and grinded it in some more, those pits are almost gone. So I'm gonna go at it a little bit more. I don't know if you can see it. So still a few pits, but I think if I just keep working it out. Let's check it out. And we're gonna call it good. Because again, this is a budget build. We're not trying to build a rocket. And even if we were, I think this would at least get us close to the moon, if not to it. Since I ain't trying to go to the moon, it's all good. So look at that. We almost got all the pits out. All right, guys, this is the number 7 exhaust valve, and we still have a few pits in there. We have a few pits in there, but you know what? I'm gonna run with it. This is, like I said, this is a budget build on these 062s. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check the seal on this to see if it leaks any air. If it does, I'm gonna take them out and just get these grind down. So I'm going to check see how the seal is on this number 7 intake and exhaust. And if this one goes well, guess what? We're running with it. So I'm gonna drop this in there, put a spring on it. I'm gonna get some soapy water poured around the intake and exhaust valve, and I'm gonna blow some air through this side and that side just to see what the seal is gonna be like. I'm gonna use the stock springs. I'm gonna replace these. I'm gonna buy some new ones, but I'm gonna use these stock springs just to be on the safe side to check it out, and I'll let you guys see what the seal is gonna be like. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and test the seal, just to garage test it. What I do is put some soapy water. I'm just gonna fill up the chambers with some soapy water. And it's gonna be around the seals. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blow some air in the intake valve side, the exhaust valve, and if we see any air come through, any bubbles come through, you'll be able to see it. So I'm gonna put this light up here, and we'll see what we got. Zoom in so you guys can get a better look. Nothing on that side. So let's check the exhaust. Bubbles there. So if anybody's complaining about pits and bad seals, I didn't have this chuck put all the way in, so I just basically put it chuck right about here for the intake port, and then I had the chuck going right about here in the exhaust port. So it wasn't all the way in, it was just right outside, because if you put it all the way in, it's probably gonna blow. Let me see what happens if I do put it all the way in, just out of curiosity. It's not going to have that much air. So let's see what happens if I stick the chuck all the way in the port. Let's see what happens. No bubbles. And we're going to do the same thing for the exhaust. I'm going to stick it all the way in the port. See what happens. There you have it. And I'm going to do a test on all of these once I get them put together. But as you can see, didn't need to get them faced and grinded at the machine shop. It's holding its own, so we did a pretty good job. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other cylinder, other head tomorrow, and we'll get ready to plop these babies on the. Obviously, we got to put the valve seals on, but once we get the valve seals and everything, double check, triple check, make sure everything's good, and we'll be ready to plop those, get them painted, and put them on the motor. So again, we ask that you subscribe to the channel, like us, follow us, leave some comments. Let us know how we're doing. But I think we're going to be good on our budget bill. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you guys later.